Hi, everybody. My name is Sammy, and I'm here with Digivangelism, and I am not here alone today. As you can tell, today's video is something super special because it's the first time after months and years of begging Michelle to join me in one of these videos. My co-owner, Michelle Barra, is with us, and she's going to talk about a book that she's been reading. We had a really awesome first book review, and we're excited to bring another one to you. I am outside on a porch. Michelle is outside on a different porch. So you are outside on a porch with us today, and we're grateful that you're here. If you didn't know, we at DIGI exist to help progressive leaders of spiritual communities share hope, healing, and light online. We are here every single Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. to share digital ministry goodness with you. If that sounds of interest, hit the subscribe button below. But for now, I'm going to throw it right over to Michelle to introduce herself and let us know what she's going to talk about.
Hey, Sammy, thanks. Michelle Barr here. I am the co-owner with Sammy Kelly. I am a project manager / software developer / bunch of other techie things as I have been for many years, and I've been in the software industry, trying to take those skills, bring them over to the digital ministry, progressive community area, and see where we can be of best help and use to spiritual leaders to get their message out, to reach people, their message of hope, healing, and light. Today, I'm doing a book review. We're going to talk about Don't Make Me Think. It's a book about web usability by Steve Krug.
Web usability. I'm scared.
Don't be scared.
Don't think, man.
You would think it's on web design, but it's not, because web design trends change all the time. We don't want to read a book about web design trends that's a few years old, and this is a few years old. This is about web usability, and that's more of human behavior. How do people interact with your websites? So this book goes into a lot of detail, but it's a very fun read. This author is really funny, lots of illustrations, so it's really easy read. But it's a book about how to. It's a book about web usability. What does that mean, Sammy?
Yeah, no, that makes me think. That makes me wonder. Like, okay, so we not only have to have a website, we have to make it usable. Like, we can't.
Right.
You just throw all your information on there?
Heck no.
What? Really?
Really? I know,
gosh.
it's crazy. So here's some examples of things that make us think. And these things are not good on a website because we don't want people to think. We just want them to.
So these are bad things. These are bad examples.
Things. Yes. So when somebody comes on your site and does not know where to start because things are not in any kind of a pattern, any kind of an order, any kind of a framework that they're used to. So people like to see the same things consistently from site to site. That's how they know how to get around on a site. So if they don't know where to start or what to do, they're going to be confused. You have very little time, 3 to 5 seconds, to capture anybody's attention. So, I mean, it may be very tempting to put your cool web design skills to work and like do some really quirky things. Don't do it.
Oh,
because while it may be aesthetically pleasing, you're going to lose people because they're not going to know what to do on your site. So most of the sites, a lot of templates are out there now, and they look a certain way for a reason. Most websites look a certain way for a reason because that's what people are used to, comfortable with.
So you're literally saying that we should not try to make our websites look cool. Like, we're not supposed to try new things and new designs and like maybe like, I don't know, like just break the mold. You're saying that the mold is actually helpful.
The mold is helpful.
Oh.
But we should follow the trends because trends change over time. So what's happening now is that websites now don't look like they did 5-10 years ago.
Interesting.
So there is like a body of design that gets implemented over time. So if you're like doing fluorescent and tie-dye to look cool, probably not a good idea. If you're using flashing images, probably not a good idea. Yeah.
So how often do we need to reevaluate this type of thing? I don't know if the book tells you that, but do you have any thoughts on
You get a feel for it just by looking at other sites. So
mm,
if you're looking at your site and then you go over to Apple site, Dell site, Amazon, well, Amazon's not a good example, but other sort of even other uh, sites in your industry, you can get a good feel for what the industry is doing, how it's trending.
okay, okay. So just
So
kind of keep tabs on that.
as a general rule, it's better to be clear and concise rather than cute and clever. Certainly don't want to be stuffy and formal with a lot of words on buttons and click events and stuff. You know, if you have jobs to post, make the button say jobs. Don't say employment opportunities. Just make it say jobs.
Hmm.
Simple.
So really like keep it simple, stupid, or silly, or whatever you want
Really
to
keep
insert
it
there.
simple.
Okay. Okay.
And as far as content, bear in mind that people don't read on the web; they scan. And if they're coming to your site, they're probably there for I know it's hard.
I'm upset. I'm
All
upset.
those words that you're right. They're probably looking for a certain thing. Their eyes are scanning for keywords that they're looking for. So don't use a lot of long text and use a lot of headings, white space, bullet points. Lists are great to use. If you want to have a deeper dive into more beefy content, certainly can do that, but make it learn more sort of a link to another page, but not the front page for sure.
So people don't read. Our website shouldn't be like in depth and like stylized. I'm a little upset here, but it makes sense that people kind of, I mean, we're a fast-paced society and people just
Exactly.
don't want to.
People don't want to think. If something's going to take them any amount of brain power to figure out where your church is, what your worship times are, they're just not. They're just. I mean, they have to be really motivated to want to do that. Maybe they are, but let's not push the envelope there. Just make it simple for them. So if they're coming to find your location, that should be top and center of your website. If they're coming to find your worship times, it should say clearly worship times, not chronometer of your sundial. Have a picture of a sundial of when your worship times are. It should be absolutely clear.
You know, it sounds funny to hear you say this, but having worked with so many churches and looking at dozens of church websites, it's amazing how often you're like, I don't know where you are. I don't know where you are, or how do I get involved? How do I come to worship? Like I just so I as much as I'm like, haha, like this is valuable because so many churches don't have that.
Because there's and a lot of that probably has to do with they need an outside perspective, and so that's another good point that's another point of this whole book is this author is an expert in usability studies, so he watches people as they navigate around the website.
Okay.
It's helpful to get an outside perspective on your website because you yourself are so in your own space that things would not be obvious to you that might be obvious to an outsider. So that's a good some hints he gives in here for usability. Outside perspective.
And we talk about that all the time when we're making recommendations to churches for their websites specifically, to just say you can't see it all. Same with your social media. If you really want to level up, ask someone who's not involved in your community to look at what you got going on online, and they are going to see things that you totally missed, which is also a great unplanned plug for digital communications reviews that we will have coming out in a few months. But as we develop some framework for a digital communications kind of like self-review process, do-it-yourself opportunity, if anyone is interested in being like a beta free DCR digital communications review participant, please email us at digivangelism@gmail.com because it's always great to have an outside perspective. We will see things that you will not, and we've been doing this a long time with a lot of churches, and so we will definitely see things that you will not. And we would love to have you help us out in that way too. Okay, sorry, Michelle. Stole the thunder.
I think it was thundering, actually. I think
Maybe we should go inside.
So we said a lot here. I had a lot of different tips here. Here's some takeaway tips. Remember, not everything is equally important. So create hierarchies where you want the eye to go, what you want to get across. Format text to make scanning easy. Use bolded lists, short sentences, plenty of headings. Bold text works well for keywords that you want to stress, keywords that people might be looking for. Bible studies, ministry opportunities, worship times, locations, all that good stuff, so they know where to find you.
So, like, what you said we should prioritize, or yeah, right?
Hierarchies. Yeah.
So, like, what does your author recommend prioritizing, or is it just the like information stuff you just listed, like, worship times and that sort of thing? Or does it differ depending on the community, or like any thoughts on making a hierarchy? Like, what does that look like?
It will differ depending on the purpose of your website. Is the purpose of your website to get people to volunteer for something? Is it just to give information? So your hierarchies will look different. So start there. What is your purpose? What am I trying to get across? How do I do so?
I think that's such an important answer, because how many churches, first of all, how many churches or faith communities in general, just like, okay, I need a website because the internet, so I need a website. So let me just put it up there. And what do I want to do with the website? I want to do everything with the website. I want to tell people about everything. I want them to come to everything, participate in everything. I want them to get to know everybody. I want them to be able to find all the information from the past 20 years. Like, no, I don't feel like it's very natural to say, like, what are my priorities with a website? What are my priorities with this site? And to actually have to, like, list them in an order and say, like, I'd rather people learn about the community and get information than I would them tithe. Or maybe it's like, oh, this is like the main hub for volunteer, getting them to volunteer and participate in the community. I want that to be the focus. The other stuff, they can find it if they're looking for it. Like, that's really interesting. I don't think a lot of people do that.
That's a shame. They should do that. So I know this sounds like probably a lot of work, but it is worth it when you're building your site, when you're redoing your site, is to put that thought and intention in it, so that your visitors don't have to think so hard, so they are not confused, so they get what they want. So what is the purpose of your site? Why is it here? What are you trying to offer to your visitor? And then from there will come a natural, I think, progression of creating hierarchies and creating essentially your site map.
Cool. That's really helpful. I have two questions. One of them is easier than the other, and neither of them are Michelle doesn't know anything I'm asking, so she's just throwing her out there. First question, can you remind everybody what you're talking about, the book? Who is this book by? What is the book? And then also, I'm curious, like, what if you have any takeaways from this book, as far as, like, because I don't know if people know, you're our website guru when it comes to anything that's not social media, which is so many things, as far as our emailing, our email lists, the website, and all of the churches we've helped with their website stuff. That's you. I don't really touch it. So, as the website guru of DIGI, who helps people with their websites, like, do you have any takeaways that you're thinking about and taking forward from here?
Oh, the book is Don't Make Me Think by Steve Krug. And my takeaways are, I'm very, before I read this, I was very guilty of doing a lot of these things that would make people think. And it is almost discouraging to read some of this, because things are really cool and you want to implement these really cool things, but don't, because it will take too much for your visitors to process that. Clarity is king, content is king, clarity and being clear in your format, in your words, is better options than cool design, flashing things, animation even. I mean, it's really easy and tempting to use animations these days because it is becoming so popular. And as web tools and get more and more advanced and things do become easier and easier for the average person to use, if you get too far down the road with them and too far, what's that saying? Too much of a good thing is
not a good thing.
Not a good thing. You could get yourself in trouble, right? Because if you're just using tools for the sake of using them and don't put thought into why you're using them just because they're cool, that's a bad thing. So your website is just, a presence for you online. It's not the end all be all of your community. What do visitors, and 75% of your visitors to your website will be people who are not involved with your community, but who are looking for a church. And a smaller percentage will be your actual members. So keep that in mind.
Wow, it's such a huge outreach opportunity with so many people that are not your church community members visiting that. So different than Facebook or Instagram, where people are following you typically because they know your community or they're part of it. So big opportunity.
Right. So Facebook and Instagram, right? You're at the mercy of the algorithms if people will see your content. Sort of the same thing with your website, but you have a little bit of a better edge because you can use a combo of email, of search engines, of links on other social media to get to the website. So and the idea is when you're on a website is keep them on your website, because the idea is when you're on social media, they want to keep you on social media, right? Facebook wants to keep you there. Instagram wants to keep you there. So if you make your website engaging, interesting, but clear, people will want to hang out there and want to know more about your community.
And they'll be able to handle the information you're giving them because it's clear and it's verbiage, it's organized, they know where to go. They're not lost in a forest somewhere trying to escape. So
right.
I think that's great. Well, thank you, Michelle, for sharing with us. And I hope this is a wonderful beginning of you jumping on our channel more and more and more and more, because I thought this was really fun. And I think that our viewers are going to enjoy getting to know you more, because they're always like, who are you? When I'm saying we and our, they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, there's another person who so I'm very appreciative that you were willing to jump on, and hope that we can do this again. If you found this video helpful, as I usually say, please subscribe to our channel because we put out a new video every single Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time. We would love for you to follow along if digital ministry tips and trends would be helpful for you as we try to help progressive leaders, spiritual communities, share hope, healing, and light online. So drop a like if this was helpful. And today, Michelle, you brought the knowledge. So do you know what it's time for?
You put it to work. No, you put it
into
practice.
Put it to action.
You put it into action.
That was good. Peace.